All right, guys, I am sitting here at work on this beautiful Sunday, putting something together for you. It's something we've been working on inside of Elite Commerce Group, and I think it's pretty important. Now, as our amazing mothers used to always say, nothing in life is free unless it is free. And then our moms were wrong. As a matter of fact, what I have for you today is absolutely free. And I don't mean just that I'm giving it to you for free, but I mean, it really shouldn't cost you anything. In an age where advertising is costing more and more, social media promos are getting more expensive, it's getting harder and harder to get visibility, keyword costs are going up. I think we're all about due for something that doesn't cost us more. Now, the idea that I have for you today, or the actionable strategy I have for you today, is methodically increasing click-through rate. Now, if I want to build a baseline for understanding what click-through is, let's start from the idea of conversion. Conversion happens inside of a listing or inside of your content where you convince a customer to buy. The problem is getting that customer inside of your listing or your social media post or your video or whatever. That process is actually called click-through. So if a customer types in shaving cream or how to do X or Y or grandma's favorite cookies, they're going to get a whole bunch of search results. From those search results, they're going to make a decision to click into somebody's listing. They're probably not going to click into all of them. So if we're talking about Amazon and they come up with 30 search results, they're not going to click into 30 listings. So the art of click-through is convincing a customer to click into our listing, our post, our video before those of our competitors. Now, again, we are an Amazon and a marketplace management agency, so we're going to start with the baseline of Amazon ads, but this concept works for just about everything that you sell digitally, and maybe even things you sell that are not digital. It's going to work for YouTube. It's going to work for Facebook, Instagram, Google, whatever. Anywhere where your product is going to show up next to competitive offerings. Before we actually get into the meat of this, I want to conduct a little experiment. I want you to grab something to write with, grab a pen, grab something, and I'm going to show you a list of products, but I'm only going to show them to you for about a half a second. In that half a second, I want you to write down which one pops out at you. Okay, so we're going to show you a list of products, and you're going to write down which one stands out the most. Ready? Go. All right, you got it? We'll do it one more time. Ready? Go. All right, write down which ones stood out. Now, I'm going to show you our results. We've done this internally. We've done this, we've tested this out quite a few times, and about 90% plus pick the same product. Now, if I bring these up again, the orange product is what 90+% of people being surveyed choose. Most of the rest go to the product in green, about, the second one from the right. All right. Now, the art of standing out in that way is called click-through, or increasing click-through rate, sometimes referred to as CTR. So what we're going to talk about in this video is how to increase click-through so that your product stands out to customers above and beyond those of your competitors. Before we do, I'm going to ask you to very quickly do me a solid, click on the like button. If you're on a desktop, this guy right here, I think. And if you're on a mobile, I think it's somewhere around right there. Please give me a like, subscribe, leave me a comment so we can continue to give you great content for free. All right, now we're going to get into some very actionable steps you can take to increase click-through. But before we do, there are three very important concepts that we have to cover. All right. The reason we're going to talk about these concepts is that research is very clear. Customers or shoppers on a product search page don't make rational decisions. They're not yet making rational, top of mind decisions. On a search page, they're more kind of shooting a scattergun, right? They're casting their attention in a very broad sort of way, and it's subconscious cues that are going to get them to make this decision. Okay. This is more what scientists would call the reptilian brain. It's more of a knee-jerk reaction than a top of mind decision. So because of that, we've got to figure out the psychology that goes into this and how we can work it. So there's three important ideas that we need to remember going into this. Number one is the principle of least effort. Principle of least effort. And that means customers are going to drift toward, when they're operating in this subconscious mind, they're going to drift toward the product that doesn't make them work, right? The product that doesn't make them dig and try to figure out what it is. The principle of least effort. The second concept is really going back to the whole idea that purchasing is subconscious, right? Purchasing is subconscious. So we want to resist the attempt to persuade, through rational choice on the product search page. We want to operate or appeal to the subconscious. And then the third principle is customers just don't read. All right. That's just where we are. Wrong or right, customers tend to not read anymore. There is tons of evidence out there that shoppers are using pictures and images and infographics and things like that to make decisions over copy. Okay. Copy is becoming less and less important. Remember those three ideas: the principle of least effort, click through as a subconscious decision, and 3, nobody knows how to read anymore. Now, we're going to go into 5 ideas or 5 actionable things that you can do on a search page with the content you have access to draw customers in. Number 1, we're going to bring benefits outside of the listing onto the search page. If you remember that concept of least effort, we don't want to make customers do work here. We want the decision to be obvious to them. So all that beautiful stuff that you have built into your content, as much as you can, we want to bring out onto your main image. Well, how do we do that? One of the ways we do that is through badges, right? You're selling your grandma's amazing, oatmeal cookie recipe, and it's gluten-free and organic. Place badges out on the front. There's a couple ways you can do that. Number 1 is you can just Photoshop them onto your image. Usually if you have them kind of hanging off of your image, maybe half on, half off, Amazon and Google won't pick up on that, even if it's technically a violation of terms of service. The AI usually won't pick up on that, and you usually get away with it. The other way is to modify your packaging. If it's not obvious on your packaging, or it shows up very small on your packaging, Photoshop a bigger image, whether it's made in the USA or easy assembly or kosher or whatever it is. Make sure it's somehow prominent, either again on a badge off to the side of your product or on Photoshopped onto the packaging itself. Bring those benefits from the detail page or from your video or your post, and make sure they make it to the main image, right? They do nobody any good if that customer doesn't decide to click into your listing or your post or your video. Number 2, use coupons and promotions wherever appropriate. And there's a couple of benefits that you get from this. Number 1, it's just another thing that is, that's a call out to a customer. Usually there's some kind of a color or larger text or something like that pops to a customer. If you remember back to that set of products we just showed you, one of them stood out to you. All right. This is just another thing that makes your product stand out. Again, click through as a subconscious decision. The second thing we get out of that is a subconscious scarcity that we build with the customer. The customer, usually when a customer sees a coupon or a promo or something like that, some kind of a stated discount, they make an assumption, again, a subconscious assumption that it's temporary. even if yours is permanent. And if they don't use that coupon now, they don't use that promo now, they're going to lose it. So whenever you have the option of using coupons or promos or some kind of a discount that shows up on a search page, make sure you use it. Even if you have to factor it in and set your pricing higher so that your coupon or your promotion brings it into the range, an acceptable range that gives you the margins that you need. Number 3, we're going to actually showcase our product on the search page over our retail packaging. And what I mean by that is, let's assume that you're selling some kind of, maybe it's a food product or socks or something like that, where what it's made out of and what it looks like actually matters. Now, if I go into my detail page, of course, I'm going to have hero photos. Of course, I'm going to have lifestyle photos. Again, though, the problem is if customers don't click into your page or your post or your video, none of that is going to matter. So make sure that your actual product, whenever possible, is visible on the search page. How do I do that? You've got to get creative. There's a couple of ways that I can think of where you can make this happen. Number 1, if you want to showcase a retail package, and let's say it's a food product, you can bring some of that food outside in front of the package. Again, grandma's cookies. You can have the pouch, and then you can have a stack of those cookies right in front of the pouch. If it is a dog treat, right, you can have your package with dog treats out in front of it. You can have things spilling out of the top. The other way that you can do this is to make this really prominent on your packaging. Now, I would make the argument that depending on the product, this is just as important out in the retail stores. If I don't put the product out in front of the packaging, there's no real reason for the customer to explore what's in it or how good it is, right? We all want to put our brand names really large and blow up our brand all over our packaging. But the problem is, if customers don't try your product, who cares? Nobody really cares about our brand or our brand name until they've experienced our product. So make sure that your product is prominent enough to take the guesswork out of it for the customer, and even to really lure the customer in with an emotional decision. Now, if you're saying, well, I have some kind of a desk or something that's kind of boring, like a children's, playpen or something like that. How can I bring that out in front of my package? You absolutely can. Look at what your competitors are doing. I've seen both of those done really, really well, where they're set up and maybe the package is in front of or behind or to the side of that product. All right, number 4, we're going to draw attention with size and color. Let's go back to that initial experiment that we did in the beginning. Almost everyone picks out the 2 brightest colored products on that list. Almost really 90 plus pick the orange, and most of the rest pick the one with the bright greens and reds. Color matters. I know this isn't easy when you've, attempted to brand a product. I know you can't just change your colors, but there are things that can be drawn out. And if you remember those badges that we talked about, and I think the number 1, the first way that we talked about increasing CTR, the made in the USA, kosher, gluten-free, easy assembly, whatever it is, those things can have a color. So if you don't want to change the color of your product or your packaging, you can use those badges to make your product pop. And then again, the second half of that is size. Yes, guys, size does matter. On a search page, size shows value and it just stands out visually. How do we get something to appear larger on a search page? Well, your product tile is a square. It is a perfect square. On almost every digital platform, most digital platforms, it is a square, some kind of square. So we want to have a product that fits that square. It is no mistake that a lot of products in a lot of spaces come in a package that shows up perfectly square, so that it fits that tile. You want to crop out all the white and come up with a clever way to make that square. If you remember us saying that some really smart brands will put some product out in front of their packaging, sometimes you can use that product to make your overall main image more square. You can use those badges. If you're selling a multi-pack, you can arrange let's say it's packs of something, you can arrange those so that you have a perfect square. That is going to show up larger on the search page. It's going to stand out in a subconscious way, and it's going to communicate value. It's going to communicate to the customer that they're getting more. Number 5, this one it may be the hardest to do, and that is using a customer or a user avatar in your main image. A customer and a user avatar in your main image. Does that violate Amazon terms of service at least? Yes, it probably does. In fact, it definitely does. Some of this stuff is a little bit gray, but you're going to find that there are brand owners that do this. Search for baby playpens, and you're going to see that the vast majority of the listings that are winning have both a parent and a baby in that product image. All right. They're getting away with it somehow, right? You should at least consider doing that. Now, if you don't want to do that and you don't want to violate terms of service, how else can you get that done? Well, again, you have your packaging. So if you look at most winning pet products on Amazon right now, there's a pet somewhere on the package. Right? There is a very subconscious decision that consumers make when they can see or visualize the user avatar with the product. It helps them make sense of the purchase in their mind. All right. And one more quick bonus I'm going to give you, in addition to those 5, is be really careful of your title. I know Amazon wants to see your brand up front, but again, consumers are very rarely shopping for your brand. If they are, they don't really need to see it in your title. They're going to search for it, recognize it, and buy it. What they really need, if you remember that principle of least effort, you want to be very, very clear in the first maybe 60 or 80 characters of your title what your product is and your chief benefit. Are you keto? Say it right up front. Are you a certain type of cookie or snack or whatever? Be very clear about it up front. Worry about the keywords later in the title. Offset them by either piping or a hyphen, because you want to be very clear. You want to pop to the customer exactly what you are. You can do all the other stuff inside the listing. You can put fancy copy that nobody's going to read inside the listing. You can use infographics that people will read inside the listing, but in your title, be super clear up front as to what the product is, your main benefit, and then offset all of the other keywords with some kind of piping or hyphen so that customers aren't looking at just a wall of text that they don't want to read. Now, I want to end this by bringing up what I think is at least an A- product. If you look at this product, let's go through those first 5 steps. Number 1, badges. You're going to see a badge right here, made in the USA. If you have any pets, you know that made in the USA is a thing. There have been all kinds of product, politics aside, there have been all kinds of product issues with dog treats and dog food coming out of China. So a lot of pet owners will look for made in the USA, and you have it right here. Number 2, bring the product out in front of the retail packaging, and you can see it's not really in front, but it's kind of coming out the top. So a consumer can see how good that might look to a dog, because it's right there. They don't have to get inside the listing for it to subconsciously stand out to them. Number 3, we're going to use coupons and promos, and you can see a perma coupon right here. Right? So a customer is going to think, if I don't use that right now, it's going to go away. There's one more little thing here I'm going to throw out just because it's here in front of us. If you look at the bottom, this is a certified certified small business. That's really important. There's things like certifications you can get on Amazon specifically, but really all over the place. minority owned, certified small business, climate pledge friendly, anything like that you can get to make your product stand out, do it. And if you're thinking nobody's reading that, you might be right, but it's going to basically stack benefits, and it's going to make your listing appear larger. Number 4, size and color. Just remember size matters, and then color, make it pop. And not everybody can be orange. Not everybody can be bright red or bright green, but make it stand out. Number 5, use a customer avatar. In this case, it's very small, but it's there and you can see it. There's that dog on the bottom left corner. Now, there's one more thing I want to throw out here. Again, tons of bonuses for you. If you look at this product package, talk about keywords. They're all over the front of it. Glucosamine, hemp, MSM, joint, hip, just about everything a customer is looking for is right there on the package. What's the brand? Who cares? Nobody's looking for the brand. All that cool stuff, all those cool benefits are right there on the package. Now, are they actually on the package out on the retail store shelf? Who knows? But a customer who really has nothing but visual on a product search page has it right in front of them. So again, bring all your benefits out front for a customer to see, or they're not even going to bother to click through your product. All right, guys, CTR, click through. It is a massive win if you can maximize this. You can literally draw in shoppers away from your competitors' listings if you do these 5 things that I gave you, plus a couple of bonuses. All right, guys, if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Let us know what else we can cover. I'd love to, drop me a comment and let us know the biggest issues you're facing, and we'll try to cover them. All right, till next time.